This is VeriScope News. Verified data, clear context, no noise. Each week, we review the official U.S. macroeconomic schedule. We focus only on confirmed government releases. We explain what the data measures, we outline why it matters. We remove speculation, we avoid reaction language, we present structure. This is the weekly macroeconomic overview for the week of February 16, 2026. All times referenced are U.S. Eastern Time. This week contains several scheduled federal data releases. The primary release is Wednesday morning's new residential construction report from the U.S. Census Bureau. Additional releases include real earnings data, Treasury international capital data, union membership statistics, the census of fatal occupational injuries, and the weekly Petroleum Status Report. This overview explains what each report measures and why it is monitored within the broader economic system. Macroeconomic releases function as standardized measurement tools. They are not forecasts, they are not opinions, they are statistical summaries built from structured surveys, administrative records, and federal reporting systems. The purpose of this weekly schedule overview is to establish clarity before the data is published. Understanding what a report measures helps reduce confusion when the figures are released. We begin with the primary watch item. On Wednesday, February 18th at 8:30 in the morning Eastern Time, the U.S. Census Bureau will release its monthly new residential construction report. This report includes three core components: building permits, housing starts, and housing completions. Each component reflects a different stage of residential construction activity. Building permits measure authorizations granted by local governments to begin new housing projects. These are forward-looking indicators. They show planned construction activity. Housing starts measure the number of housing units where construction has begun during the reference month. This captures actual ground-level activity. Housing completions measure housing units that have been finished and are ready for occupancy. Together, these three measures provide a structured view of the residential construction pipeline. Residential construction represents a measurable share of total U.S. economic activity. It contributes to gross domestic product through construction spending, material demand, and related services. It also connects to employment in construction, manufacturing, transportation, and professional services. The new residential construction report is released monthly. It includes data broken down by region, structure type, and seasonally adjusted annual rates. Seasonal adjustment is a statistical method used to remove predictable patterns. For example, housing construction often slows during winter months. Seasonal adjustment allows analysts to compare months more consistently. The report provides both month-over-month and year-over-year comparisons. These comparisons allow observers to identify directional changes. Over the past 10 years, housing activity has reflected shifts in interest rates, population growth, construction costs, and household formation trends. Housing permits tend to respond to financing conditions. When borrowing costs change, builders adjust project planning timelines. Housing starts reflect execution of those plans. Completions indicate supply reaching the market. Because housing intersects with lending, materials, labor, and land use, this report serves as a structural economic signal rather than a short-term headline. The second release, scheduled for Wednesday, occurs at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics will release real earnings data for January 2026. Real earnings measure changes in wages after adjusting for inflation. Nominal wages reflect the number of dollars paid. Real wages reflect purchasing power. Inflation adjustment uses the Consumer Price Index. When prices rise, purchasing power changes. Real earnings account for that shift. This report includes average hourly earnings and average weekly earnings. It also includes real earnings for production and non-supervisory employees. Over a 10-year period, real earnings trends have reflected shifts in labor demand, inflation cycles, and productivity changes. Because wage growth and inflation move at different speeds, real earnings provide clarity on income purchasing power. Later that same day, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time, the U.S. Department of Treasury will release the monthly Treasury International Capital Report. Treasury international capital data, often referred to as TIC data, measures cross-border financial flows. It tracks foreign holdings of U.S. securities and U.S. holdings of foreign securities. This report includes purchases and sales of Treasury securities, agency bonds, corporate bonds, and equities. TIC data provides a structural view of international capital allocation patterns. Cross-border capital flows affect government financing, currency demand, and long-term investment trends. On Thursday, February 19th, additional releases are scheduled. At 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will publish union membership data for calendar year 2025. This report measures the percentage of wage and salary workers who are union members. It also measures union representation rates. Union membership data is derived from the current population survey. It provides annual comparisons. Also at 10 o'clock Eastern, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will release the Census of Fatal Occupational Injuries for calendar year 2024. This census compiles verified data on workplace fatalities across industries and occupations. It uses multiple source documents for confirmation. Later on Thursday, at 12 noon Eastern Time, the U.S. Energy Information Administration will release the weekly Petroleum Status Report. The release time is adjusted due to the federal holiday. This report provides weekly data on crude oil inventories, gasoline inventories, refinery utilization, and petroleum product supply levels. Energy inventory data connects to fuel supply tracking and production monitoring. Each of these releases represents a distinct measurement category within the broader economic system. This week's primary watch item remains Wednesday morning's new residential construction report. Understanding the structure of these reports before release provides context. It establishes a baseline for interpretation. In the next segment, we examine the residential construction report in deeper structural detail.